Nyana, Moya Amen.
Amen.
I first apologize. I am struggling. I have a sinus problem. And sinus problem together with the mask, it's a huge struggle. And I forgot to use my spray. So my nose is blocked. If you don't hear me, you must know that's how white people speak English. Today is a very difficult day. I know it is difficult for me and my wife, and it is difficult for the whole Diocese of Mthatha. But I want to thank God who allowed us to be part of this wonderful family, the Diocese of Mthatha. The God who allowed us to share the pain, the joys and sorrows of this diocese. And the God who has walked with us this far. He is a wonderful God.
Amen.
If I were to go back and talk about how I have seen God at work in my life, that could take the whole day. But I have seen God doing wonderful things. Even when I think I am down, I have seen God doing miraculous things. And I want to believe that this is what God has done. The journey that led to this diocese, I never thought of it. I never dreamt of it. In fact, in my own way as a human being, I thought I had sealed the door that had to do with anything relating to elections and all that. I was happy with what I was doing, not knowing that God had other plans. It was one Saturday morning. Usually I did not actually go to the office on Saturdays. But this one particular Saturday I was at the office, working quietly, and the phone rang. This bishop persuaded me, and he even volunteered. He said, send your documents to me. I will drive to Cape Town and hand them in myself. And when we had finished our conversation, another bishop from another part of the province phoned me. And I asked him and said, have you been talking to so and so, to another bishop? And he said, no, Bishop, I've not spoken to anyone. And he also said the same thing. When I finished talking to that one, another one phoned. 3 bishops phoned, talking about the Diocese of Mthatha. And I said, good people, no. But they persuaded me, and bishops are wonderful guys. Wonderful, no, I shouldn't say guys. Are wonderful people. You know, when they persuade you, the last thing they say to you, they say, just allow your name to go forward. and let God decide. Allowing your name to go forward is not painful, but you always fear that something is going to happen. So eventually when I went home and I spoke to my wife, another wonderful creature God has given me. I'm glad you did not hear me.
We heard you.
When I decided to close the door and sit, one day she came to me and said, keep on praying. Something is coming. I did not answer her, did not say anything, because I did not want to entertain it. When I spoke to her coming back, when the diocese was unable to elect, I came with the news and said, well, the Diocese of Mthatha has not been able to elect. She didn't answer me. But that particular morning, when I spoke to her, again she didn't answer me. But I knew that God was saying something. And when it happened, I knew God actually wanted me to come this way. And so we decided to focus on our coming here. When I moved from Natal, good people, I want to tell you, I moved heart and soul. Everything that is this person came to Mthatha.
Amen.
My heart came to Mthatha. I did not see myself as an outsider, but I saw myself as someone, as part of this diocese, a person who had come to share the pains and the joys and everything that this diocese was going through. So I praise God for allowing me to be enriched by coming to you, because I believe God has enriched me and my wife by bringing us here.
Amen.
We go back better people for having been part of this great diocese, part of this wonderful diocese. I so pray that you would know what a wonderful diocese you are.
Yes. Amen.
You are indeed a wonderful diocese.
Hallelujah. Amen.
I never go to the pulpit without checking myself. I'm not sure what I did.
Sorry.
Sorry. So, good people, I want to bless and thank God and praise God for His goodness to us. God has stayed with us. God has been one. Yes, there have been times, hard times, times of anxiety. But even through that, God has been wonderful. God has helped me realize and discover who I am. And maybe I would not have known that had I not come to this diocese. uThixo uzibonakalisile kuthi, uThixo uhambe nathi, uThixo usibambe ngesandla, wasikhokhela, sakuva ukukhokhela kukaThixo, sakuva uthando lukaThixo, sayibona ukucela kukaThixo nothando lwakhe elibonisa kuthi ngani. You do not know what you have done to us. You do not know how you have penetrated our hearts, and you are in our hearts. And I want to praise God for that. I do not want to dwell on myself. But today we are going to be licensing a priest. And some people might wonder why I'm licensing him on my last name. I nearly forgot to do this, but I was reminded that I felt I needed to do it today because this person came to me 2 years ago, if not more, and related his story, an Anglican, related his story, and I said to him, just join a parish and worship there. And he did just that. Faithfully worshipped, faithfully did everything. And whenever he came to me, he never came to me to ask why I had not licensed him. He came to me to talk about other things. And whenever I made a suggestion to him, he listened faithfully. And eventually, I felt he had done enough to warrant me to do what he had asked me to do. I did not rush into this decision, but I feel he has actually shown enough to convince me that we should do that. And today, we will also be licensing the Vicar General, someone who will take over so that there is no vacuum in the diocese. The Archbishop has asked me to license the Dean of the Cathedral as the Vicar General of the diocese. The Archbishop has sent me the certificate or the license to give to the Vicar General so that people know my absence does not mean there is no leader in the diocese. Yes. There is a leader until the Bishop of the diocese is enthroned. There is a leader until the Bishop of the diocese, who will be elected, is enthroned. And please, when you hear of the names of those who have allowed their names to go forward, do not start tearing people down just because you want your candidate to win. Pray for all of them. Amen. Pray for all of them. Because allowing your name to go forward is a big thing if you do not know. And we do not want people to be destroyed when they still have their lives ahead of them. Mm-hmm. And please pray for each and every one of them, and pray earnestly to God, and pray that God would among them. God knows, I don't know. Select the person he deems right fit. Not that others are not, but it can't be all of them. There will always be one person that God chooses. So please pray. Don't do, in fact, let me tell you one thing. It is not allowed to campaign anymore. Nobody in the Anglican Church is allowed to go around campaigning. That person may end up because the candidate that they are trying to promote disqualified. And in terms of the rules of the church, I'm talking about Act 11 in the constitutions and canons of the Anglican Church. It is not allowed anymore to campaign. But it doesn't mean you cannot talk to a friend. Talking to a friend, people will always talk to one another. So I pray that when you do it in a civilized way. Don't pull one another apart. Don't try and drag people into camps. Don't create camps anymore. They
Amen.
destroy the church of God.
Yes.
Don't allow yourselves to be dragged into any camp. Camps destroy the church of God.